Well, hello, Barstools and Bandtalkers. It's me, Dave McPherson, without Sean McKenna. Again, now I own 52% of the company. Yeah. Anyhow, I have a super special guest here tonight. I got the idea from a friend of mine who plays in his band, his live band, and we were kind of ostracized, for lack of a better word, that we were kind of being too genre narrow, not genre open, neutral, I guess. So we've been trying to eliminate that by talking to some folks who do R&B, some folks who do hip hop, some folks who do jazz, some folks who do blues, some folks who do country. So we're going to talk to a country artist here tonight, local maritime legend, really, and he's doing some really, really exciting work. And I'm pretty excited for y'all to meet him, and maybe a lot of you already have, but I'm going to learn to get to know him a lot better here tonight. We're going to bring on Mr. Andrew Frelick, and here he is. Oh, that way.
Yeah.
That way. Andrew Frelick, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. Again,
Awesome.
I apologize on the absence of my friend Sean, but he's got some stuff on the go here tonight with his band, The Frequency. But I'm excited to have you on here, man.
That's great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Let's start at the beginning. So, it's the country scene, and again, I'm going to be straight on the line. I appreciate country music, and I have, the last band I was in, we did a lot more current country music stuff. And I grew up on the Conway Twitty and Charlie Pride, and I know all those old tunes, but I never played them, and I'm not really familiar with the scene. So I'm going to apologize for my naivety and my greenness. So I want you to kind of educate me, if you can, on the country scene. I wasn't aware that there was a huge country scene in Halifax, but there friggin' is.
But based on venues, there's not a whole lot of places to play. We have a new country bar, Cheers Country Bar downtown, which is a great spot, very busy. But surprisingly, in our area, in Atlantic Canada in general, there are a lot of country artists. It's challenging to play live, but a lot of country artists in the area that are independent, that write and record their own music. Usually, whether it's locally recording or traveling to Nashville to record. But yeah, the country music scene is pretty big, and in general, it's kind of modern country kind of making come back, I guess, with the younger generations, and it's pretty fun. It's keeps you busy, definitely. We try to mix in a lot of the older stuff too, but I grew up on rock music. It's what I played. Right up until my late teens, I guess.
Okay.
And I grew up in a country household, so I think I kind of probably rebelled against country a little bit, played a lot of rock music, and then just kind of gravitated back to it. And it's changed so much. Like, modern country is almost kind of what I think when I was younger, soft rock, I guess is what it was called back then. It's kind of evolved, and that's kind of what country is nowadays. It's the storytelling lyrics, but with the music of bands like Bon Jovi and that sort of thing. So it's a lot of fun.
You're bang on. It's funny, we had Darby Mills on the program from the Headpins, and she kind of alluded to kind of I wouldn't call it a rant, but I mean an appreciation for country music. And she said, "Don't kid yourself, Dave. It's pop music. It's pop rock music with some killer licks and some and kind of a country, maybe some steel guitar. But I mean, it's a story, like you said, the story's being told, and the music's getting across in a way that's not maybe as offensive, like a screaming guitar or double bass drum or whatever the case may be. So I think it's pretty cool.
And even some of the newer stuff. A couple new singles last week that came out. A country artist by the name of Hardy, and he's quite popular right now. And I mean, his new single, and the guitars in that song are just as heavy as any rock song that you'd hear, period of any year of rock music. So it's just kind of, it's evolved, it's different, it's kind of, some of it is very pop-like, some of it is very rock-like, but the one thing I think that kind of keeps it in the genre of country is the lyrics and the kind of the storytelling part. But it's great, and it's great to see the following is growing. in Atlantic Canada here. I think there's always been, but seems to be back. And some of the bar owners have noticed, to the point of opening new dedicated bars to country music, as well as even some of those that aren't specific country bars. They still like to have country music in at least monthly, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's
Now,
been
I see
good.
you guys play at the New Cheers, and I don't know if anybody's been
Yeah.
there or not. I mean, we would remember it. I don't even know how old you are, Andrew. How old the guy? How
Oh,
old are you?
I'm old enough to be New Cheers. I'm old enough actually to be our older country bars. But yeah, I'm 40, so
Okay, that's cool. Okay.
yeah,
So again, Cheers was kind of like that blues bar. It was that kind of thing,
yeah,
but it was it kind of got rock, kind of got dance, but it was
yeah,
like a staple gig as part of that Liquor Dome structure.
yeah,
And I was shocked just last summer to walk down. I was like, country bar? When the
yeah.
And then I had the opportunity to go and watch a band play. Ironically, it was your band play
Oh, cool.
at Cheers, and I was like, oh my God, what a nice job they did with it. What a great venue, and what a nice crowd. It's totally different than it used to be for sure. So if you folks haven't been there,
Yes,
I strongly recommend you check out the new Cheers like country bar, or what do they call it? Country.
yeah. It's called the Cheers Live Country Bar. Yeah,
Perfect.
it's
And you guys play at Brewster's too, eh?
yeah. We are usually in both every month.
Okay.
We play monthly. Pre-COVID virus shutdown, I guess, kind of killed things for a little while, but till the end of 2020, we're booked every month in both. So hoping this dust settles pretty quick so we can get back playing. But Cheers is great, and the owners, the ownership and management of the bar, have been super supportive of us, as well as helping to try to grow the country scene. It's
Nice.
yeah, it's been very good.
It's clean. It's I like the table setup. I like the whole environment. It was kind of neat. It was really cool. It was totally redesigned for sure. See,
Yeah,
that's
we
go ahead.
haven't been able to we haven't been back since to use it, but they right before this whole virus stuff, they relocated the stage. So
Oh,
now
okay.
when people walk in to the band side, the new stage is kind of at the straightaway at the far end.
Okay.
So people walk in seeing the band. So super excited to get to play there again and check that out, because it'll definitely hold same amount of people, but just the way they're kind of lined up will kind of afford to a kind of an appearance that there's more people in the bar and kind of enjoying the music, and dance floor grows and that sort of thing. So
Right.
it'll be cool to check it out again for sure.
Well, it's true. It was kind of weird that the bathrooms were behind the stage. I thought that was kind of odd.
Yeah,
There's some weird things up that way for sure. But no, I think you're all going to really enjoy it. Like it's a
yeah,
great bar. Now, again, back in I guess think back to the last great big country cycle that I was aware of here.
yeah.
Seemed to be around the old Billy Ray Cyrus, "If You Pick Your Hard Times," when they used to have
Yeah.
the what's it called now, the program. I never remember the name of that place.
The
Uh,
bar, the rodeo.
no, the rodeo bar for sure. It was something on Strawberry Hill in Halifax. It's going to escape me. Anyhow, something saloon. Make You Break Your Heart Saloon or something saloon. Anyhow, I can't remember the name of it now. But it was a big country bar. Sorry, I wasn't a country fan. Sorry, but
Yeah,
it was whatever it's called, something Rose Saloon. Anyhow, it was a big deal. But there was a few of them at the time, and that was the last resurgence, of course. And then you had the Little Nashville, of course,
yeah.
that took over from the Crazy Horse. So that was in around the early '90s that all that was happening. So is it a kind of genre that you find is cyclical? I mean, do you have to go underground for a little while and then come back up again, or
I think more just kind of where you are, maybe in this part of East Coast of Canada. But if you're in Alberta, country music doesn't go
right,
away. It's there. You
right,
know, Same as the main southern states, U.S. It's just country music is kind of the kind of genre itself has evolved over the last decade to 20
yeah,
years probably. And I think with that, probably lost some fans that were kind of partial to traditional country, but then also gained new fans
sure,
for those that were kind of more into pop music or rock and that sort of thing. And now it's the same country artists. We're kind of all the same in the sense that everybody listens to all genre music. You're
yeah,
just fans of music, and it just you can now get away with playing basically whatever kind of music you feel like, You know, and it typically, you know, sits in the country genre, but you can also then, you know, easily in the night of a gig, you can bang out some, you know, rock songs, Tragically Hip, Guns N' Roses, all that kind of stuff, and your audience appreciates them every bit as much as they do the country music you're playing. So it's cool
That's
that way.
pretty cool, you know. And is it? I think it's the new fan that is more accepting of not just music, but of human beings. You know, like they're, and that's one thing I gotta say about this new millennial generation. They get a lot of a bad rap in a lot of ways, but they're totally open to just about anything. And the
Yeah,
acceptance level of that generation is pretty interesting actually to watch it evolve. Um,
yeah,
just with, you know, like I don't foresee in 40 years time that there'll be the same kind of racial tensions and the same kind of gender issues and the same kind of, you know, musical taste, whatever. It's kind of neat
yeah,
that generation is kind of on top of things. Like I've seen that happen before, where you can have hip hop, country, and rock in the same bar, the same night. The DJ will play it all, and they
yeah,
dance to
yeah.
it all. You know, and it's kind of cool to see that.
Exactly. And I think if you kind of align yourself as an artist to that, you know, it's just kind of more the realization that, you know, your fans that listen to you listen to all kinds of other music that is not even close to what you do, and that's okay.
Yeah,
And the aim is just to put music that they add to their playlists and they listen to, and it's kind of in rotation with all the other music they listen to, because reality is 1 minute they'll be listening to a country song, next minute they'll be listening to a rap song, a rock song, like, and there's just less and less people all the time that are, you know, genre focused on one. And if that's your aim as an artist, you're probably less likely to continue to get played, as people more and more kind of adopt that, you know, just listening to whatever they like kind of music. And I think that's where streaming services, you
yeah.
know, there's those that fight streaming services and think that they're, you know, killing music and all that, or, you know, the other side of it is, you know, to look at it from the fact that they're helping music. You know, artists get played in playlists, and you know, I look at, you know, Spotify and Apple Music for myself, and to see that, you know, my music gets played on the other side of the world and all this kind of, like, countries that without them I would never have that kind of reach.
True.
You know, it's a great thing.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point, Andrew. And let's talk about some of the stuff that because you've got, well, without letting the cat out of the bag. I
Yeah.
mean, you're actually in the middle of recording your fourth EP. Is that right?
Yeah, little stagnant on the whole EP right now, but we, with the current state of things, not being able to travel,
Yeah.
we did find a way to kind of progress with 2 new singles. So I have a single that will be released in June, called "Gone as It Gets," which is a co-write between a buddy of mine that I do a lot of writing with, Doug Fulkins, and a gentleman who has currently actually has the #1 country single in Canada, Tyler Joe Miller. So the two of them wrote the song. I loved it when I first heard it, so I got permission to record that one. So it'll be out in June, and then in July, I have a single called "Buzzed Up," written by a gentleman from Nashville named Skip Black, and a Canadian country artist, Aaron Goodvin, who is, you know, quite a accomplished country artist in both Canada and the U.S. So another great song that I hope to release in July, and they'll be the first 2 songs from this EP. So once travel kind of cooperates a little better, I'll head back to Nashville and record the rest of the EP, probably another 4 or 5 songs, and have, you know, 6 or 7 song EP released that I would love to have out before Christmas is the goal.
Excellent.
Uh, yeah, so interesting times, you know, doing vocals and having a producer kind of similar to you and I right now, you know, telling you what to do and how
Yeah.
to set things up and what to do differently and all that kind of stuff. Whereas, you know, normally you'd be in the same room together. So it's a lot more back and forth via phone calls and emails and Skype and that sort of thing. But
Right.
we've been able to make do quite well, actually. It's good.
Well, I mean, there's a new technology that's evolving, and I don't think we're quite there yet because, I mean, and I'm no scientist or whatever, I'm no engineer, but in my head, if you could, if you think back to when we were kids, if you were on the phone, you and I could talk at exactly the same time. If you and I are on our cell phone now, if we're talking at the same time, it's like a digital on off. It's like you cut out,
Yeah.
I'm in, or I cut out, you're in. So
Yeah.
there's some way that we could almost, you know, virtually jam or virtually sing or whatever. Like there's something on the cusp,
Yeah.
I think, of being invented. I'm not sure what it is, but there's a new technology that this is going to be the new norm, and Sean and I talk a lot about this. I don't think you can take away live music. I don't think you can actually
No.
take away. People need to see a band and dance. They have to, get close to the loved one on the dance floor. That has to happen. Going forward, you have to kick off your shoes and just let loose. That has to
Yeah.
happen. And with that, you need live music in order to do that properly, in my opinion. But a streaming service is going to be a secondary form of, well, let's call it what it is, remuneration. Like I said, so if you can't tour right now, you can't have a concert. And I don't know if you do music full time now, Andrew, or is this like
I'm pretty much full time. I do have a full time job as well, but I kind of do both full time. And
right on?
lately, in the absence of being able to do shows, a lot more like Facebook Live concerts and YouTube Lives and Instagram Lives, that sort of thing. There is software out now that's subscription based that does allow bands. I forget the website, Jam something, but you can actually pay a service and you can actually perform live. So what it does is it kind of buffers the recording so that there's no latency and everybody hears and gets to play in time and all that kind of stuff. And then streams from there, but it's still not, to your point, I think, another year or so when technology improves even better, it'll be that much better.
Right.
But we're definitely getting there, but it's, the idea of folks being able to watch concerts from the privacy of their own home and artists still being able to make money, all that stuff, I think is probably the next evolution. Was similar to going from CDs to streaming, how that changed, and Facebook kind of started it with the whole Facebook Live, I plan to do one tomorrow night actually. And, you can get quite an audience just sitting in the privacy of their own home, watching you play music. And it's a bit of a different interaction. You can talk to them and take requests, and it's cool.
That's really cool. So it's pretty neat that, that you're able to embrace that and run with that technology for sure. And that your music is lending an ear to that crowd. And I think the crowd is going to evolve too. I mean, there's a lot of diehards that just want to go out and party on a Friday, Saturday night.
Yes.
But we talk about that with a lot of folks now too. I mean, even in the next 6 months after this whole pandemic thing kind of wears in a little bit, I mean, it's not going to be the same. It might not be the same capacity. There's going to be less tables. There's going to be less, interaction, I suppose. And we're all going to be cautious. So in order to do that, I mean, let's embrace the technology and maybe be careful and go out and have fun, but not maybe not maybe 7 nights a week. There's an opportunity to watch your favorite artists. Maybe do that on a Thursday night or whatever. So there's
exactly.
Yeah. So
and
let's talk. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to add that with bars at half capacity and restriction on numbers of people and currently no dancing, and it's kind of there's different possibilities too, like maybe there's sponsored live concerts that are sponsored by bars and restaurants, and you see some of that popping up now too. Nashville's kind of was leading the charge with it a little bit while things were still on lockdown. Some of the big bars there like Tootsie's and Honky Tonk Central and stuff, they set up stages with top-notch live streaming equipment, and they still were having bands in the whole time and providing streaming concerts for anyone that tuned into their streaming concerts so that they could still see full band live streams during the whole pandemic isolation. And it was pretty cool to watch, and it was great. The sound quality was probably better than if you were live in a bar. So it was super cool, and technology is just getting better and better. Like even live streaming audio equipment has improved so much that it's not just the sound that you're getting from an iPhone anymore. You can really improve the audio quality. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a new world, brother, isn't it? It's really neat.
Yes, it is.
So tell me about what inspired you to get involved with music in the first place. You said you grew up in a musical household with country music, and you probably went against the grain with, "Frig you, Mom, I'm playing rock music." But I mean, like when did you start playing? Was it always guitar? Was like, just give us a little background.
I actually, my mother and my grandmother were both in country bands when I was growing up, and my aunt is actually, she had a great career. Carol Baker, country artist. I mean, she's done, I think to this day, she's still probably 5th or so all-time female Canadian selling artist of all genres in Canada. She's done very, very well for herself. Played Wembley Stadium. Yeah, you mentioned Conway Twitty earlier. She's recorded and sang with Conway a bunch. So being able to see a family member actually have a career that's done that well, kind of, I think, led me to see that it is possible. It's possible to get to the, star level that you see people on TV get to, because it's, just one of your family.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely, I think, gave me the kind of the courage, I guess, to try it. Started playing guitar when I was like 9 years old. And then just through that, I kind of stuck with rock music for the better part, because I thought, the best guitar players play rock music and that sort of thing, and wanted to really be a guitarist. So I did that. But listening to country music the whole time, listening to rock music the whole time. And then I just got to a point where when I was, late 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, playing guitar for other bands, and every once in a while, hey, why don't you sing a song? And, during breaks and stuff, people say, why are you not doing this yourself? Like, you should be, making a go of it and trying to be your own artist and that sort of thing. And then decided one day that I'd give it a try, and I released a country song as a single. Did fairly well on some of the US internet radio stations and that sort of thing, and got invited to perform at some different independent awards ceremonies, and just thought, okay, well, seems to be being received well, so I guess I will get some band members, get a band going, and record my first EP. And then just kind of one opportunity kept presenting itself after another. I've gotten to perform at an award show with the Nissan Stadium in Nashville, the football stadium. I played there, played the Skirmerhorn Symphony Center in Nashville, lots of bars in Nashville. And just, every opportunity is that happens is kind of one kind of notch above what I ever thought would happen. So I've just been kind of rolling with it since. And I'm at the point, like I said, I do music pretty much full time, but I also, have 3 kids, a wife, a house, a full-time job. So I'm not, at this point in my life, I'm not expecting, stardom or any of those things. It's really that I'm just making music for the love of making music and playing, and have, a bunch of great guys that I play music with in my band now. And we just enjoy, whether it's playing the music that I record and, have playing on the radio, or if it's, playing cover songs. Sometimes it's just great playing music, and it's kind of where we go with things.
Well, I don't know, Andrew. It sounds to me like you're on the cusp of some great stuff, brother. I mean, that's it. And I know one of your bass player very, very well. Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers is a very good
yeah,
friend of mine, right? And
he's a
so I
great
gotta
guy.
get a hold of Andrew Frelick. How do I get a hold of him? He goes, oh, here's the right,
Yeah,
because he invited me to see
he,
you guys play that night, and he's a
yeah,
great guy. He's a great
he
guitar
is a
player. I don't know
great
why he's
guy.
doing playing, but he's a great bass player too. So that's.
Yeah, we're definitely fortunate to have all of those guys, but Aaron
So who
as
else
well.
is in the band? So I know Aaron. Who else is in the band?
Matt Riendo is my other guitar player.
Oh, of course. Okay.
And then his brother Josiah is the drummer.
Yep.
So the 3 of those guys have been playing music for years and years and years
Yes.
together. So I kind of lucked out because they're so good and tight together. And then I just kind of insert myself in the middle of everything and sing and add some guitar and that sort of thing. But no, it's been great. We played Cavendish Beach Music Festival last year together. We were hoping before this got canceled to be back again this year, and this year's festival got canceled with the pandemic. So that's was kind of unfortunate, but no, it's just great. We've been having a lot of fun, and meanwhile, I kind of on the back end of things keep writing new music and recording new music, and we mix my originals in with all the cover music that we play, and it's just been great.
That is so awesome. Now, you said you have a wife, 3 kids. How old are the kids?
All just had their very own COVID birthdays here in
Oh,
isolation, but so my oldest just turned 13, and then I had my middle daughter turn 10, and my little guy just turned 8 as well. So they're trying to get musical themselves, each one of them in their own right, or either
excellent.
they're playing instruments or singing and that sort of thing as well. So we just try to keep them surrounded by music. I really think that environment is kind of what creates musicians. It's not people think it's you're born with it. I do agree to that an extent, but I think it's more kind of the environment that kids are surrounded in that really helps them to appreciate music and grow up appreciating music.
Sure. And they've got to be supportive though, because I mean, for you to pull off the stuff you pulled off so far, Andrew, I mean, that's a lot if you had, pulling in another direction. But
We my wife basically is takes care of everything. When she's always adopted the mentality of we'll just find a way to do things, and she, with the help of her, we've been able to. And she works a full-time job, quite a busy job, myself as well, and then the music and the traveling and kids, and it's a busy house, but we kind of wouldn't have it any other way. So
right on, brother. That's so cool. That's so cool. That's really nice. And for those, well, we were actually going to do this interview last night, but you said, let's go take the kids out for stuff. So, oh my God, they haven't been out for 3 months. I totally understand. Take them out, have a good time. My God in heaven.
Yeah, no, we planned to be back in time, and we were, but I appreciate switching today. But it was just, I kind of weighing out all the options. There's no cases in Nova Scotia right now. Yes, there could be people untested, but for the most part, I think, if there was a safe time to go out, it's probably now, because we could be up for a wave 2, by fall or something of that nature. And so I couldn't imagine.
I've got my new mask anyhow. It's a Crown Royal mask. I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh, nice.
This is
nice.
my new COVID mask.
That's a good use for those, actually. But I couldn't imagine keeping the kids cooped up for 6 or 7 months. So I thought we would break it up a little bit, take them out yesterday and blow off some steam. And then, if things, hopefully they don't, but if they do progress in the wrong direction again, at least we had a little bit of time breaking things up some. So different experience, though.
No, I get it. How often is your band playing locally here now? Like
before all the pandemic stuff.
Yeah, normally.
Yeah, we were normally playing weekly. Best case scenario weekly, worst case scenario bi-weekly, I would say. Yeah. Right on. Yeah, and then occasionally I will mix in kind of solo acoustic shows, duo shows where myself or Matt, my other guitarist, will accompany me, that sort of thing. But we play usually every month at those 2 bars, Brewster's and Cheers. And then we mix in the Fleet Club, usually every month or every second month. So we stay pretty busy. Yeah.
But not too far, though. You're just staying locally, though.
Yeah. And then festival season, in the summertime, we branch out and try to play in different areas. And then, I visit Nashville a few times a year. When I do, I usually try to tack on shows and performances in the area there as well. So, thus far we haven't. I really have the itch and the bug to kind of do a little, try to get some shows in a row, kind of Ontario area. That's kind of on the kind of game plan for 21, I guess.
Right.
So far we've just stayed busy locally. It's been good.
It's funny because we don't think about it here in the Maritimes, but a good friend of mine used to play in a band with years ago. His name was Rob McCord, amazing rocket player, but grew up a country player, and he's a freaking incredible country player. So he finally packed up the rock stuff, went down to Nashville, changed his name to Shaker McCoy or Shaker Nashville. I don't know, he had all these names, but anyhow, he and I hooked up again after not talking for 25 years, and he was explaining to me the state fairs that they play. Like in the States, it's a huge deal to play state fairs, but we don't really have that here. Now, West they may, like in Alberta they may, and maybe some parts of Ontario, but we don't really have that kind of, event here, that kind of venue here.
There's a few. I headlined 2 years ago, Bridgewater Social Exhibition. That's still pretty big.
Okay.
And there's a few. I think Yarmouth has a fair size exhibition as well, but definitely not like in the U.S. And the thing with the U.S., is you're playing year round. You can do the Midwest or you can do Southern U.S. And play 12 months a year, because fairs and exhibitions and state fairs and all those things are, not just a once a year occasion in good weather. They have them quite frequently all over the place. So it's definitely, climate wise, the area is set up more for live music to be some continuity with how often they can play.
Sure.
versus for us, we're kind of, pigeonholed into, 2 or 3 months a year for outdoor
Exactly.
shows.
That's right. That's
Uh,
true.
but yeah, you can keep busy during those 2 or 3 months for sure with weather. But then, yeah, kind of the winter months, you're indoors looking for bars and that sort of thing to play in for sure.
So the Mecca is really national. Like in order for make things happy, it's like I guess years ago in Canada would have been Montreal or Toronto or Vancouver. But for country music, it's always been Nashville. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's spread around. I mean, a lot of people now. There's a lot of well-known country artists coming out of California now as well. But it's kind of more just population base. You go to Nashville, it would be kind of like if all of the city of, well, not all of Toronto, but the majority of Toronto, if it were all country music.
Mm,
You would have, it's very rare to have a city that has, hundreds of bars that are country music bars. We have
right.
one,
Yeah.
maybe two. you know
Yeah.
there's hundreds there. There's literally, when you go out to eat or drink at a restaurant or a bar, the people serving you, their job is, being a server or a waiter or waitress. And then by night, they're playing in bands, playing in shows. So everyone in the town is in the entertainment industry in some shape or form. And everyone's basically chasing their dreams to be, a musician. It's an interesting thing. It's kind of like, you think in any kind of sports, there's usually like farm leagues and
Mm,
systems where you
yeah.
get promoted to the pros.
Yeah.
It's kind of the vibe that you get in Nashville. You kind of feel like you're there with like-minded individuals trying to chase dreams and hope that you get, meet the right connection or impress the right people, that sort of thing, to make it to the big leagues. But for all intents and purposes, it is kind of big leagues, because the same bars that you're playing in as an amateur, there's professionals playing, those same bars every month.
Right.
So it's kind of cool in that way, like to know that, I've played Tootsie's, but bands like Aerosmith and Keith Urban and Brad Paisley and all those guys have played at Tootsie's too. So it's kind of it's there's a lot of history in the city, and it's just a cool thing.
Right on. Wild Heart Saloon. That was the one I was trying to think of.
Wild
That's the
Heart
one.
Saloon, yes, I've heard
Just
of
it,
that one for sure.
just dawned on me. Um,
Yeah,
so like, how would you say like your music is faring? Like so now you're talking about, and this is no, and again I apologize. I'm kind
yeah,
of green. I don't even understand. Like I guess in our day in the '80s, the whole thing we wanted somebody to knock on our door, hear us practice in the garage, and say, "Hey, you guys are awesome. Here's a record deal, and we'll give you this
yeah,
money, and blah 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 blah." And that's like, and they'll pay for A&R, and they'll get your record on the radio, and that was the big deal. The radio almost seems like a dying breed now, because everyone's either listening to a Sirius XM station, or they're just streaming
yeah,
their own music from their own car. So it's kind of
yeah.
funny how things change. So for you, your I guess your measure of success is how many downloads or how many times it's being played on Apple Tunes or Spotify.
Yeah, and radio as well. Like, you'll release a song similar to how it would have been done in the past, but in the past, you would have had radio promotions teams and radio trackers, like mailing out CDs and that sort of thing, and then hope that they add you to the libraries. Where now radio stations, if you went in a radio station, I don't even think they have a means to play a CD. So it's all done through a digital distribution system, where you release your music that way. They can preview it. If they like it, they download it. If they download it, they can choose to add it to, light rotation, heavy rotation, that sort of thing. And so there is still that whole element, because at the end of the day, streaming services are one thing, but radio is still alive. It's still big. Satellite radio is obviously bigger than ever. So we have, for me, kind of the mecca for radio is when one of my songs get added to CBC Country on satellite radio, channel 171 on Sirius XM. So that's a big supporter of Canadian country music. So they support a lot of Canadian country music, but also both major label and independent. So they've been very supportive of me and playing my music. So hopefully these next singles, knock on wood, they will add into rotation as well. And yeah, streaming services, I mean, that gives you the reach that otherwise you wouldn't have. Like, to see, I forget when I looked the other day for this past couple months, I had 5,000 Canadian listeners in Spotify, and then I had 3,000 or so in the US, and then I'm 300 in Mexico, 300 in
Okay.
Korea, like 400 in Australia. And it's just weird because normally there's no way an independent artist without some sort of web-based reach would have music in those areas. So
Do they just find it
it's cool.
randomly, or is it just recommended by a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, or how do they get it?
Your guess is as good as mine. I think maybe a little of everything, a little of searching for one. Like now there's algorithms in Apple Music and Spotify that say like, if you like this song, you might like this song. And
Right.
some people just ignore it. Others actually try to discover new music, and they listen to things that way. I did record a cover song, an old Steve Miller Band song that always loved the song, but I kind of knew more of the story behind it than most. So song Jet Airliner by Steve Miller Band.
Right.
People associate that with them, and it's not actually a Steve Miller Band song. It's a gentleman by the name of Paul Pena, who was a blind guitarist, blues guitarist from before Steve Miller Band time, and he was about to release it. He wrote it, and he was about to release it on his record. Had some record label disputes, and for better part of almost 15 years or so was in contract disputes with his record label, so it remained unreleased.
Wow.
During that time, Steve Miller Band released it. You can actually YouTube his version. It's very much different. Some different lyrics, different groove. It's definitely kind of slower and more blues.
Yeah.
So my producer thought it was a good idea to record a cover song for that reason. People reach out for the cover song, not knowing who you are, maybe discover you a little bit. So we did that. We took some of the lyrics of the original, some of the lyrics of the Steve Miller Band version, got the okay to re-record it in our own way. The music is very much different. It's somewhere in between both as well. But now, using that example, when people search out Jet Airliner, they see Andrew Frelick's version, and they're like, what is this? And click on it, hopefully, and they like it.
Right
Then and it's actually, of all my music, it's probably been the song that I get more of the, hey, I didn't know who you are, but the song's really good. Glad I discovered it kind of thing. So, yeah.
But it's true, though. I mean, a lot of this stuff happens. I look at, let's look at Wagon Wheel. Darius Rucker did that version, but it was the
Old Crow Medicine Show.
That's right. But
Yeah.
they had done it only a year or two earlier, was it? Like, it wasn't that it wasn't
I've been
something.
playing the Wagon Wheel from Old Crow Medicine Show from back in the days of their release. I've been playing that song for probably about 7 years now.
Is that right?
And I probably wanted to stop playing it probably 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, when Darius Rucker released it, it was like it gave the song new wings again, and everybody wanted to hear it all over again. So it's sometimes if you find the right cover song, it can do wonders that way.
But I wonder, and this is the part of the business that I don't really understand. So he's not going to get publishing rights. He's not going to get credits for writing. He might get performance rights, I guess. But he has to tour that. So even for you to be big in Korea, which is kind of cool, is it the kind of thing that if it got big enough, would you tour Korea? Would you and maybe get the merchandise? Is that the way you're going to make money now, or
it can be? I mean, at the end of the day, where the real money in music is for a recording artist is owning their own masters. So the difference now with people don't realize, but even Garth Brooks technically is an independent artist. He's not a major label artist. He has distribution through labels, but if you own your own masters, that's kind of the real money. So you can write your own music, and yes, if you have publishing rights through like SOCAN or in the US ASCAP or BMI, that is one revenue stream. But another revenue stream is basically who is it that paid for the recording to take place in the recording studio, and that's a whole other revenue stream. And a lot of artists, when they're signed to a record label, that's how record labels make their money, is they take a percentage, if not all, of that revenue stream of who owns the masters.
Right.
But if you're able to keep them for yourself, that's where you make the money. So if you're a gentleman like Darius Rucker or myself with Jet Airliner, and you own your masters, yes, the songwriters, Old Crow Medicine Show songwriters, would still get the publishing royalties, but Darius Rucker would be getting the sound exchange or the master ownership royalties.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah,
I get you. It's quite a different industry, isn't it? Like
it is, and it's changed. Like now there's basically, I don't know, 6 or 7 different revenue streams that you need to be able to capitalize on all of them to be able to keep your business a business and actually a viable one, because any just one revenue stream by itself doesn't do it anymore. But the combination of all of them actually you can do very well. So it's just it's definitely a learning experience. And the old expression of, had I known, then what I know now, sort of thing. So hopefully someday I'll be able to teach my kids, but by the time my kids are old enough to do what I'm doing, it'll all be changed again, and I won't be any help to them. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, we're almost out of time, and Andrew, I can't even thank you so much for being on the show, like I said. And a couple of things I want to do. I want to first of all find out, where can people find out more about Andrew Frelick? So
Sure.
Go ahead.
Probably the main spot would just be my website, www.andrewfrelick.com. So it's Frelick. From there, it links to social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of the usuals. And then, if you're an Apple Music user, Spotify user, all my music is on all streaming platforms, Amazon, any of the other streaming services as well, Google Play, etc. Besides that, from my website, all my events and my calendar where I play, whether it's local here or when I do travel, I make sure that all my events are listed so people in whatever area I go can hopefully catch me if they so choose.
And I should add, like, so I know those Rando boys, and I didn't realize they were in your band, because I knew all these guys from church years and years ago. But amazing player, Aaron Rodgers and man Joshua Rando. Just like, you got a top-notch band there for sure, Andrew, for sure.
Yeah, they're super guys, and they've actually, it's getting your live show to a level that it can be. A lot of times people don't realize the impact that it has, but playing with those guys and, adding, all the elements that you do and the tracks that we have and just the tightness of their playing, and it just added the music to another level, and super great guys on top of that. So we have a lot of fun together.
That is so wicked. And well, listen, from Barstools and Bandtalk perspective, I mean, we just wish you all the success. I guess another question for you too. Who else do you who else, I guess, is in this genre here locally that you look up to, or has there been like a local artist that's like, obviously like Carol Baker, that's a pretty big name. That's your drawing. That's a pretty big deal. But I mean, like, anybody else here locally that you're kind of fashioning yourself after a little bit, or?
I don't know in that sense. I've always tried to, as much as I can, connect with other like peers of other local artists. Amanda Riley is a great female country artist in the area, a voice that would rival any professional country artist that you hear on the radio for sure. I played guitar for years for a gentleman in the Valley by the name of Kevin Davison, also a fantastic country artist. I kind of Ivan Daigle from New Brunswick, but I think now actually he's living in PEI, but plays a lot of shows here as well. So I've just tried to connect myself with the other local artists, JD Clark. There's a bunch, and any opportunity I can to kind of, if we do shows that are kind of multi-artist performances and stuff, try to include people as much as I can, share some of the stuff that I've learned about, the different revenue streams to help each other make, whatever financially we can from everything, and spread the word and help sell merch, all that. I think that's kind of more where I am. And I think I learn more just from watching everybody running their own business. You kind of learn what you should do better at and do more of, and then some things maybe that you shouldn't do. And that's just, I find for me, it's just kind of keeping my ear to the ground on what everyone's doing, and try to be as connected with everybody as I can.
That's awesome. I mean, we hear the names, George Canyon, and of course,
Yeah,
mine and Sean when we were younger too. Gordy Sampson, who made some awesome big waves.
crazy good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gordy Sampson. I mean, from the songwriting side of me, if I ever could even have a tenth of the songwriting prowess that he has, that would be, wonderful. I've written a few that I've recorded, but to have people like Florida Georgia Line and Carrie Underwood and names like that recording your music, I can't even imagine what that would be like. So
I don't know, Andrew. I
yeah.
heard some of your stuff. It sounded pretty good to me, buddy. And I'm super excited that you are, a singer songwriter too. Now it's kind of cool if there's a hit that you can perform.
Yeah.
I thank you for explaining that to me because I didn't really understand. And it seems to be more prevalent in country music where they say you don't have to be a songwriter because there's tons of songwriters and they're just trying to pick the right song, which is kind of cool.
And it's kind of I don't know if it would be a lesson that I've learned or whatever. On my first EP, I've been a co-writer on I think every song on the EP, something like that, maybe other than one. Second EP, I was probably like at least 75% of them. Last EP, 50-50. And I've just kind of started to learn on my last EP that, having the best songs you can possibly have is more important than making sure your name is listed in the songwriting credits, because at the end of the day, the other revenue streams, unless you're pulling like Florida Georgia Line kind of numbers for radio, the publishing revenue stream doesn't outweigh the others. So for me, I would rather the best song I can to ensure radio takes it, plays it, people stream it, that sort of thing. And it's kind of more advantageous for myself that way to be, seen in that light and heard with people really, enjoying a song versus, one that I wrote. So on my last EP, for instance, song Live to Love You. Again, my producer, he's Scott Harder. He's just connected and a great guy. So super happy to work with him. But his brother used to be a country artist, J. Michael Harder, his name was. Okay. And he was also a songwriter and wrote a song with a gentleman by the name of Earl Bud Lee. And they wrote the single that I then recorded, Live to Love You, as my song. He wasn't a super well-known artist. So, he had obviously a following, but my fans definitely haven't heard his version. So for everyone else, it's an unrecorded song in their mind that I'm the only one that recorded it. But Earl Bud Lee, one of the co-writers, actually wrote Friends in Low Places for Garth Brooks.
Okay.
So to have kind of a songwriter of that caliber,
he did okay with that one.
Yeah, it's super cool because when people, connect through him, I come up as an artist of someone that recorded a song and your name's next to Garth Brooks, and super cool. But yeah, I think it's more just about having the best songs you can have.
Well, I predict that Andrew Frelick is going to be the next Chris Stapleton, in my opinion. So that's my goal for you, my friend. Really quickly, Les, I'm going to ask you about. You got a whole whack of pretty guitars in the background there. What's your favorite guitar that you play live, or actually two, the live and studio?
I am definitely a Telecaster guy. Can I change the camera around on this?
Sure, yeah. Sure.
Will it let me do that? Flip it in the other view?
Maybe.
Yes, it will. Okay.
So, there you go. Let me get my glasses on so I can see.
I usually play all of these. This wall is kind of like my wall of the ones that I play, and I got acoustics down below. But I'm usually a Telecaster guy. But the one that I play the most lately, these two guitars are actually like sisters.
They look brand new.
Oh, they pretty much are. But this is the Telecaster version of this guitar. There's only a limited number, I think like 210 of each made, something of that nature.
Okay.
So I wanted the Telecaster version and the Stratocaster version. And before all this pandemic went down, I would say the majority of the shows that we played last, that was the Stratocaster version I've been playing the most.
Nice.
Super nice. This one I should show you this too. This one I had made. There's a gentleman in Enfield, Cody Custom Guitars.
Okay.
So this is my own design. Everything from the electronics to everything. It's even got my signature on the headstock.
Wicked.
But he built that one for me. Pickups, acoustic and electric pickups, how I wanted. Great playing and great sounding guitar. But
is it a maple neck? What is it?
It's roasted maple, yeah. So it's
Nice.
very dark, but very roasted. Actually, and these two are roasted maple necks as well.
Yeah.
This one's just a little bit darker of a tint, but super into lots of guitars. I would have, hundreds if I had room to keep them. And people always say, what do you need so many for? But you always find reasons to play them. That's for sure.
Well, it's funny. Now, are those U.S. Fenders? Or are they? Which ones are they?
Oh no, yeah, they're all U.S. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're American. The two Daphne blue ones are American special editions, professionals. Then the Nashville limited professional, and I have a deluxe. But they're all American.
It's funny because I have I'm a bass player, and that's what I do now. And
Yeah.
I have a Fender Jazz. This is 2004, and I think it's you know what, 2004. It's the happiest I've ever been with a guitar, and I've had that guitar now for 16 years, and I love it. I absolutely love that guitar. And it's funny. I went the other day. It's like, you get a little older and you have more money. Like when we were a kid, we had dreams and aspirations of getting all these guitars. Now you can kind of get what you want. And there's nothing that I like as much as that. Now there's an Ernie Ball Music Man that I did kind of like feel that, but it's like I get little hands. And it's like that's the only guitar that I really feel like I can feel comfortable with. Now, if I could find an older Ibanez Roadster that I started with, you know what I mean?
That's what I started with.
The one that was stolen out of my car when I was living in Clayton Park. I'd like to get that one back. Yeah. Anyhow, but that's what if I could find that one again, it'd be good. But I mean, it's funny how you kind of like what you like, and it's
100%.
You don't have to deviate from it at all. That's cool. Listen,
you can't go wrong with the Fender. I mean, they've been making them since the invention of electric instruments. So,
amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah.
I thank you so much for your time, Andrew. I wish
thank
you all
you
the
for
best.
having me. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. We'll have you back. There's going to be a lot of questions too, and feel free if you have, pop on the site. And there's some cool stuff to see that's on the site. And again, Sean's not here again tonight, but from both of us in Barstools and Bandtalk, we thank you so much for being here. And again, continued success.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And I definitely will chat again for sure.
All right, brother. You take care. Have a good night.
You too. Take care.
All right. All the best.
Bye-bye.